So intense action on this finale episode of Boku no Hero Academia, right?
Uh, I'm curious. Did you ever get my message that I sent you?
Yes. And I think you may have meant the post credits.
End credits, post credits, and same thing.
Actually, because
Same intention.
I don't usually watch the end credits, but it seems like the normal end credits sequence.
Well, yeah, I meant post credits, but I don't know. I flip around those two terms.
The teaser scene, Nick Fury sequence.
God, the Ferris Bueller's Day Off sequence, which was then copied by fucking Deadpool.
Deadpool.
The best.
Yeah, I think it's technically called a stinger scene.
Yeah, that stinger scene. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm gonna wait to talk about that, but fuck, man, that alone. Well, let's just say that remember when I said I accidentally found out things about One for All? That's
Yeah.
pretty heavily implying about the thing I found out.
Oh, will you reveal it or not?
In part, because there's parts of it that were not revealed in that. Actually, you know what? I'll put up. I'll tell people before we start discussing that little bit that it's going to be spoiler heavy, and that's if they want to cut out now, that's where they cut out.
Okay, maybe save that for the final.
The end. Yes, that's the plan.
Oh, and oh, where did I save that picture? And one part that I thought was utterly hilarious because I freeze framed at the quote unquote right frame because when Endeavor was doing his buzzsaw through the building,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, wait, did Endeavor just turn into a buzzsaw? So I went back and it was just going through. I'm like, yes, he is.
Yeah, I did too. I paused at that point too.
And I went back and froze at the exact second Endeavor had the crappiest animation.
It's the most in between an in between frame could be, right?
Sending it to you now. I'll probably put it up on the socials.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yep. That's like right when he breaks out of it. And it looks real awkward.
I have it set at I think 5 minutes 39 seconds.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But to be fair, right? He immediately gets back into like an awesome look though.
Right.
Whereas if we're going to talk original Dragon Ball Super run, holy fuck does it not do that? Holy shit does it not do that at all? It gets worse in some cases.
I just wonder how much like A tier anime has in between frames like this.
Oh, probably plenty. There's probably plenty, especially when it's kind of like a far shot the way this one is. Because it's like you're trying to capture the moment of just changing from spitting so quickly, you're just a blur in the form of what is essentially a frisbee, to the point where you've stopped moving and are straight.
They could have at least gave him his mustache and beard.
I mean, did you actually see what his mustache and beard look like without the fire?
They're non-existent, really.
They're just like scruff.
Yeah.
They're just like lines of scruff. That's it. He doesn't have any, and at that distance, you'd never see it.
Right.
He's also not burning anywhere else, so I don't think he would be using superfluous stuff like his beard and mustache.
Was he, or this is how I'm taking it, was he abusive to his kids?
Yes. That's been kind of heavily hinted at in since season 2.
Okay, but now it's like just coming out and saying that he was.
Yeah, it's kind of out at the forefront. It definitely feels like he was abusive. He's also a father that just, when he wasn't being abusive, he just wasn't there.
Um,
Yeah, that's the interesting bit, and that's actually a good way to start this because that's how this episode starts off. We go from like big action scene at the end of last episode to, oh hey, let's see Todoroki's mom and how she's doing. And it does seem like he's at least trying to do well, like right by them, or at least trying to make up for it. Which, who knows if the older kids will like ever forgive him for what he did? Because her mom had a complete mental breakdown. Hence why even seeing him might cause shit to resurface, and why the doctors tell her not to.
and that's why he's tries to stay hidden when he gives her flowers.
No, I don't even think he's hiding from them. I think that she's just straight up not being there. She said she's afraid.
Oh,
Like she avoids seeing him.
hmm.
And if he is, in at least some small way trying to make amends by giving her a flower that she had only ever mentioned once when they were dating. And while it was also said, I think back in season 2, or at least it was something that you could like kind of just assume based on Todoroki and why he seems to be the way he is, quirk wise. Endeavor can't keep using his heat the way he does. He overheats himself. And I'm curious because we'll probably find out next season why overheating is such a bad thing for him. Like he says, what was the line? Something along the lines of like we get flashes to Todoroki and shit. It's like this is why I did what I did to like counteract the downside to my quirk. Like when I overheat, when I use my fire like this, my body temperature rises. So the question becomes: is it because the body can't handle those temperatures, or is it something else specifically that causes it to like backfire?
Right.
Is it one of those things where it's like if I overdo it like this, I'm out of commission for weeks while I recover, or like the flame's just gone. I've used up all the fuel for the time being.
Or maybe he'll do damage to his own body by pushing himself too much.
Well, that's what I mean by his body can't handle the heat. Is he literally cooking his own body by doing this?
I would maybe say yes.
Um, but yeah, there's some really good action shots. We get our sketchy ass art style back for this shit. I forget who the director is that does these, or the animator that does the main frames like that, but they always look fucking amazing. Like holy shit, some of those shots, like where it just blurs into sketchy art as Endeavor's just unleashing, what is it, prominence burn or flame?
I I know there's Hell Spider in there.
Hell Spider, where he's literally got like laser beams from his fingers that he's throwing like nets. Oh, and find out what Hawks' ability actually is. This is interesting. Like he literally controls the feathers specifically. Like I don't even know if he actually has wings. Like underneath all the feathers, like if there's a bone structure there or not, or if it's literally just all feathers.
I think it may all be feathers because he was down to, I would say, like a few dozen out of a few hundred, and he didn't seem to have anything underneath all the feathers.
Yeah, it seems like if there's any bone structure there, it's very minimal for those wings. Which then explains the whole how does he fit them into his coat situation that you were asking last week.
Yeah.
If they're all feathers, well, there's your answer.
Going back to that for just a moment, and I'm not a birdologist, but I don't think a
I think it's ornithology. I think that's the term. Anyway, go on.
I don't think a wing can bend in such a way that it could get into the fabric like that.
I think it could. You just got to put it on differently. Like the wings would have to go first, and then it slides over your like chest and body and shit. Um, Although for the coat specifically, since it is zipped on the out in the front, it would be a lot easier to do than a regular shirt.
Yeah,
But yes, I get your meaning.
yeah. And just saying with the blankologist, that was just a running joke that I had with my friend Josh back in high school.
Oh, I know. I get the joke. You told me about it. I think you've told the audience before, but yeah, for anyone who didn't know, um, stupid running joke where it's like, I'm not an antologist or a skyologist.
Spiderologist.
I'm not an animeologist over here.
Yeah. But we try to be.
With our clearly realistic PhDs that we didn't just slap together from cutouts of magazines.
That I just didn't design in MS Paint 5 minutes ago.
That I totally didn't get in a mail order catalog. That name there, Naruto E Ninja, yeah, that's me.
see, I have a headband and it says ninja.
It says ninja, and my key phrase is, well, I believe that. Oh, God. So, yes, apparently this Nomu can talk, which is interesting, and it's capable of thinking and devising strategy.
I thought there was another Nomu that could talk. Granted, only Hulk speak, but
Mm-mm.
I kind of thought there was one that could talk.
No, not as far as I can remember. Not unless you're talking about the big giant dude we saw at the start of the not amusement park, school festival arc, and he's not a Nomu.
No. I thought there was definitely a Hulk speak Nomu last season.
No, not that I can remember. There was only that
Okay.
first Nomu we ran into, and then a bunch of random ass Nomu that were just attacking the city at one point in season 3.
I'm probably misremembering.
It's possible. It's very possible. Or I could not be remembering either. It could be the other way around. Who knows? But my points speak for themselves. But yes, the fact that this thing can actually strategize is interesting. Hawks is really. We also here's the other interesting thing we find out about Hawks. Even though he did admire All Might, he more admired the person that was actually struggling to catch up to him. He's been an Endeavor fan for a while. And even he admits his back isn't enough for the rest of the heroes to aspire toward. So yeah, Hawks has been an Endeavor fan for a bit. Though he obviously doesn't know all the dark shit Endeavor has done to try and get to All Might. You also get that kid that that Endeavor met the other episode, screaming at the TV screen to be like, "Fucking look at him! He's still fighting. There is still fire going on. What do you think? What do you mean that you're terrified? There is still a man out there doing battle for us," which was a
And
cool touch.
and he slightly reminded me of another anime character that I cannot think of at the moment.
I can tell you exactly who it is because it reminded me of that too.
Who?
Natsu from Fairy Tail.
I haven't seen Fairy Tail. I've heard of it, so I'm. Let me see. Natsu Fairy Tail. Yes, yes.
It is literally that character. And even more interesting, if the references are anything to go by, one of Endeavor's sons is named Natsu.
Huh.
That white-haired dude from the start with the mom.
It would be interesting if Natsu and, not Natsu have the same voice actor.
Yeah, super sick fight. There's not really much to say implication-wise. Other than that, obviously Todoroki's watching this on the TVs and being like, "What the fuck, old man? What are you doing? Prove to me you were right when you said you were going to be a hero worth, respecting." Yeah, in the end, Endeavor essentially wins, though it takes Hawks literally pushing him into the sky where he can essentially prominence burn 100% power. the damn
And
thing.
he hates saying plus ultra.
Yes, he does not like that phrase. Even though earlier he was just saying go beyond multiple times. And then he caps it all off at the end with plus ultra.
He's like, the first part is okay, the second part is stupid.
I fucking hate this second part. Oh. But yeah, he supernovas, they fall to the ground. The Nomu, as far as we can tell, is scorched. Also, we should point out that, like, for the first half of this fight, he was trying to capture it alive to interrogate it. Second half of the fight, fuck that. That's gone. We can't. There's no way. We need to destroy this thing. Full power, all or nothing. So yeah. Also, apparently he was fighting for a while there with his body just straight up unable to move on its own.
Which is impressive.
He's literally just using the fire to repel his body.
Yeah.
And then he gets like hit with, I guess, one of the like weird tentacle things from the Nomu as he's like thrusting himself at it. God, that's an awkward term. But that's what he's doing. That's literally what he's thrusting himself at the Nomu. As awkward as that is to say. Anyway, he says he gets hit, and he's like, that's great. The pain makes me keep myself from falling unconscious.
So he's a masochist.
Yeah, you know, probably. Probably a little, well, I would think, considering his family situation, he's way more sadistic. But, you know, there could be some masochism mixed in there somewhere.
Okay.
But yes, he and the Nomu go all the way up, and he essentially supernovas with a prominence burn. Collapses to the ground. I guess the Nomu's dead, even though he's not completely incinerated, which makes me very suspicious whether or not it's actually dead, considering it could regenerate from just a head.
Yeah.
And it was able to regenerate even though he was blasting him inside of his body. He was shooting fire into the mouth of the damn thing and scorching him from the inside. If the thing isn't ashed, I feel like there's a good chance it's still alive. But yeah, we get fucking end of the fight. Smoke clears after he and the Nomu crash to the ground, and he's just barely holding himself up, fist raised. I'm curious if he lost an eye in that fight, because ever since he got hit, that eye was just black.
Maybe he'll have like some flame eye patch.
Is he is he gonna turn it? Oh shit. I just realized something.
What?
Is he gonna be All Might / Deku, where it's like the one eye is glowing real bright? Like when All Might's throwing a punch, his eyes are like glowing bright blue as he's throwing it, and there's just like that tracer of the blue. And then when we had I want to say All Might, but I'm wrong. Deku fighting Overhaul, there was that point where his eyes were glowing green, and he was getting that tracers of green glowing eyes.
Maybe.
So if he's gonna get like a flame eye patch, are we gonna have like glowing red-eyed fucking Endeavor now?
Maybe.
Because that'd be kind of neat. The fucking number one heroes always have this weird glowing eye like fetish. But yeah, that's how we end the episode, with the new number one cementing himself as a symbol of peace in his own way.
A whole lot more violent peace, I take it.
A bit more, yes, with I want to say a lot more collateral damage. Granted, how much of that was Endeavor's fault and how much of that was the Nomu showing up out of nowhere, it's up for debate. Because it wasn't like the Nomu was a pushover. The thing was stronger and faster than Endeavor.
True.
So this is the part where I'm going to tell the audience to cut out of the video now if you don't want any spoilers.
I don't know if we'll be doing a weekly thing like this anytime soon. Maybe we'll find something come summer. I hope everybody had fun. I sure did. This season was a whole lot of fun.
Yes, it's been very fun, and I always like watching them weekly like this, just because of the fact that like I get my Saturday morning cartoon rush with this shit. Though granted, I guess for me it's more Sunday instead. I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah.
We'll have to look at like the upcoming list of anime to see if there's anything we want to do this for later on.
Although we didn't have a chance to record any brand discuss anime this week, I do have something that I will bring up then of something we may potentially want to watch in the fall.
All right, worth looking at. I'm willing to listen and make a decision from there.
So, all in all, I would maybe say this was a 8.5 out of 10
What, the episode of the season?
this season.
Yeah, I could see 8.5. We kind of fell off a bit there with some of like the potential artwork in there, and that's in part because the movie was being produced at the same time as the series, the season. Like the Mirio fight was not terrible, but disappointing because all we got was kind of like a slideshow was his sacrifice essentially. That would hurt it a lot for sure.
Yeah, so, to anybody leaving now, we'll catch you whenever.
Tune back in at some point to see something else.
Yep.
Ding our dong. Hit the bell. Subscribe. Please?
Yes. Are they gone? Okay, for people who want to know the spoiler,
Who want to know or who already know thanks to the manga? Or who have spoiled themselves already.
both?
I was going to say, or all of the above. Anyway, so our end credit scene, or I'm sorry, post credit scene for this. Deku's sleeping and he's dreaming.
And I'm guessing all of those people in his dream were the previous One for All users.
Yes, but you notice how he's still kind of shadowy in there yet. Like it's only from his nose up and his, I think, left hand, right hand.
So is that the parts of him that have awakened his power?
So here's what I think. I don't know if there's a reason specifically for the parts of the body, but I think it's because that's the percentage that he has mastered One for All in total. He's at 8% normally and 20% in very short bursts. I want to say that's like the percentage of him that One for All as a quirk that he's acclimated toward now.
Okay.
Whether or not the specific points have anything to do with it, I don't know. But we get a shot of all the previous users of the quirk except All Might.
Oh yeah, All Might wasn't there.
I don't know if it's because All Might is still alive or not. I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Yes, I'm thinking it does because.
But it shouldn't. Because think back, I don't know if you remember this, but back in season 2, when we were having like this school festival arc where they were doing like the tournament setup, Deku had that whole that mind control thing where the dude was like, just walk off the edge. Just do it. Just walk off the edge over there. So that way he would win by ring out. Deku saw a bunch of shadowy figures in like the archway leading back out to like the locker rooms essentially, including one that looked like All Might, which, if inferred correctly, would have been all the previous users. So why All Might isn't in this lineup, I don't know.
Oh.
So we get that. We get the scene of the original One for All fighting against
All for One.
All for One back in the heyday. And to quite literally the point that the original acknowledges that there's a 9th user now. So here's the bit that you can infer from this. One for All as a quirk might actually have a bit of its own consciousness.
Oh.
At the very least, it has the original All for One or One for All's consciousness in there. At the most, it has every single user's consciousness at some point in there.
So it's kind of like, and granted, I've only seen a few episodes. I kind of read a little bit about it, but it's kind of like the Avatar form in Last Airbender, like Avatar State, I think it's called.
That's what it's called. Yes and no. Technically, I'm not 100% sure when it comes to Avatar how exactly it works.
But and can communicate with past
Well,
avatars, right?
yes. Specifically, he usually communicates with the last Avatar that came before him, Roku. He has conversed with a couple of others near the very end of the series, but 99% of the time it's Roku himself. Anyway, my point being, when it comes to Avatar, I don't know if the souls of each of those characters is in the Avatar power, or if it just gives him a way to communicate with the souls of the dead avatars. Like he's communicating with them in the spirit world.
So, I mean, not Deku can communicate with past users.
He can communicate with the past users, but from what I understand, based on both my spoilerage and what I'm seeing here, All for One has absorbed at least part of their consciousness. Or One for All, sorry. One for All has at least absorbed some aspects of their own consciousness, at least during the points that they owned the quirk. After they passed it on, I don't think they would have kept anything. It would have kept anything from them. So between the point of getting the quirk and then passing it on, it would have absorbed that that type of consciousness within itself. And here's the other bit that I'm going to give you, because we've already sold the people that don't give a shit about the people that give a shit about spoilers to leave. This is where I'm going to throw in the really big one that I found out. Remember when they said that if One for All would have gone to somebody with a quirk, it would have boosted that quirk?
Okay.
It also incorporates the user's original quirk.
I think we may have said this was a maybe about 2, 3 months back.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Because I remember you mentioning that All Might's original quirk may have been his muscle form.
If he had one at all, it's kind of up in the air in that regard. It could have just been a way he was using One for All as a way to boost his own body mass. It might have just been the way he was using it. It's hard to say. But no, I mean full on like other quirks, not just kind of dumb quirks like that. I mean like full quirks. I know there are two. I know one at least at the point in the manga that I had found this out, he was able to use a quirk called like Dark Tendril or something like that. If you want to think of it as just like a Spider-Man web whip, if you want to think of it like that, but it's like a dark tendril instead that's permanently like attached to his body, I think, or a
Okay.
shadow from his body. He's essentially able to use that. I know that Nana Shimura, that was All Might's teacher, her quirk was just straight up float. Or was it float, or was it like let me double check now that I'm thinking about it. Let's see here. No, it is called float, which allows her to suspend herself in midair. Yeah, it's basically allowing her to levitate. She can suspend herself in midair. How much actual usage she can manipulate that, who knows? But yes, Deku's going to have access to whatever quirks all of the other users would have had at some point.
So, All for One and One for All are kind of the same quirk, except All for One steals the quirk while One for All borrows and absorbs the quirks.
I think the better term would be it copies the quirk. Because from my understanding, when One for All is passed on, that original quirk is still in place. Whether or not it keeps the boost One for All gave it is another question entirely. But I think the person keeps their original quirk. I think One for All goes in, copies that quirk and moves on.
So,
That quirk and the consciousness.
so Deku at some point might be able to levitate.
Potentially, yes.
Wow. Any other spoilers you want to drop?
That's all I have for that for this. I didn't go crazy in there when I found out.
So I
Um,
guess this wraps up.
well, we're missing the last bit where literally Deku wakes up with One for All active in the hand that touched the original One for All from the dream. Like he shatters his own window with whatever the hell happened there, and his sleeve is completely torn apart. I don't know what happened exactly with that. I don't know, like, did he thrash his arm and One for All was just triggered or whatever it was? But shit's kind of a mess in his room.
Yeah, so I have no idea when season 5 is coming.
All we know is that it's confirmed to be happening.
Yeah, potentially early next year.
Maybe end of next year. I kind of find it hard to believe that would be like going right away.
Yeah.
Jumping in immediately. I don't know. I'd say spring or summer, or fall, I should say. Spring or fall, it'll kick in. I feel like next year sometime. I'd lean toward the end of next year.
Oh, so you're saying more of a 6 month on, 12-month off type of basis?
That's what I would feel like, just because it gives them time to like make the art good. Now,
Okay.
granted, this was also they were also doing this season when a movie was going on too, so they were probably slowing things down because of that. So maybe it'll be early next year. Who's to say?
Yeah, but hope everybody had fun and
All right, look. If they want that spiel again, they can rewind back to when we started before we started the spoilers.
rewind. Um, uh, catch you later.
Later.